Baltimore might be home to the Super Bowl champs, but a new report heading towards financial ruin. The city already has some of the highest taxes in the state, and my next guest says, let that be a lesson for Washington. Gretchen Hamel is with the group Public Notice. Gretchen, they pay a lot of taxes, and it doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah.
Familiar story.
A very familiar story and kind of a microcosm for what we're seeing as a nation. Baltimore, they have double the property tax of any other jurisdiction in the state. They tax their income at the maximum level. They nickel and dime everyone that lives in the city, and yet they're in a financial ruins, and they've done all that they can from the tax side and done nothing from the spending side, and they're looking at billions of dollars worth of deficit.
Well, they're pretty darn close to Washington, D.C., right? So maybe there's a little flu flying over from Washington to Baltimore.
It really is. When you're only talking about one side of the balance sheet, you're missing the whole argument because you're missing what's really causing the source of the problem, and that is spending. Baltimore, for example, $2 billion deficit when it comes to its infrastructure and operating costs over the next 10 years, and then nearly $4 billion in pensions alone. Here we are as the United States, and we're looking at our problems, and they're relatively similar. We have infrastructure and operating costs, but of course we have this entitlement program that is basically going to be bankrupting us, and it takes up a huge chunk of our operating expenses as a government every year, and we're failing to see the point and failing to actually address the problem.
Well, we know there are a lot of spending problems on a state level, on municipality levels, on the national level, but doesn't Baltimore want to raise taxes again?
Baltimore, of course, would love to raise taxes instead of having to make some hard decisions. Just kind of like the U.S. Postal Service would rather kick the can down the road instead of making some hard decisions and then be forced to cut Saturday delivery. We wouldn't be in some of these positions if we were able to get ahead of it, if we were able to make some tough decisions and have leadership on it, leadership in Washington, but also in leadership in these cities. They knew this problem was coming. That's why they've raised taxes so much, but they needed to get ahead of it, and they needed to find ways to curb spending. And the mayor, to her credit, has tried but on the pension front, but hasn't had much success.
So the other answer is always just go to the other one. Go to the easy one. Let's just raise taxes on the taxpayer. Gretchen Hamel, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you.
From